Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Vault. My name is Rob. It's good to see you guys back here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a review of The New Kids 1985. This is the new and latest release on the black label from 101 Films. I was just sent a review copy, so I don't have the actual box here to show you guys. But if you're into movie reviews, movie collecting, unboxings, all those sort of things, I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. And if you wouldn't mind, consider hitting the bell to get notified every time I post a new video, so you can stay up to date on the latest videos as they get uploaded. Now let's get into this review. Okay, so as I mentioned, I was sent this review copy by the guys over at 101 Films. Plot storyline of this one is the brother and sister have kind of military parents. The father's like in the army or the military. The two parents kind of pass away suddenly, so the brother and sister kind of go to live with the uncle, and he kind of runs this weird kind of Santa's Funland, I believe it's called. It's kind of like this weird kind of amusement park, run-down amusement park in Florida. And because they're the new kids in town, this kind of gang starts to pick on them, and it really kind of taps into those kind of 80s gang movies that were sort of around at the time in the mid 80s here. So let's just talk quick about some technical info on this one. Originally released in 1985, it's a 1.78 to 1 aspect ratio, so you'll get that nice full screen picture on your TV. It does have an LPCM 2-channel audio track, but it's a dual mono track, just if that's of interest to you guys. I will mention this is a Region B Blu-ray release, so it's for Europe. The feature itself runs 89 minutes long, and as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the black label releases by 101 Films. Cast and crew on this one, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, that legendary guy that came up with the Friday the 13th franchise. He's done a couple of other horrors in there in the early to mid 80s, so he directs this one. Pretty decent cast in this one. James Spader is in there in a really memorable role for him. I'm not too sure how early it is in his career. It's pretty early because he's quite young, but he kind of nails down that like creepy, weird gang leader guy. He's really cool in this. Laurie Loughlin, she's in there as well. Kind of an early role for her. I believe this comes after Amityville 3D in horror sort of filmography. Shannon Presby is in there, Eric Stoltz is in there, young Eric Stoltz, and the legend that is Tom Atkins is in there as well, albeit brief at the start of the movie. Let's talk about artwork on this one. As I mentioned, I just have a review copy, but I'm going to stick in some pictures here to show you guys. The black label releases are really nice by 101 Films. I actually have some up here in the collection behind me. They have that nice cardboard slip cover. You get the really nice booklet, and then the actual Blu-ray itself and the artwork and stuff. Fantastic job they do on these releases. Let's talk AV quality on this one. Audio, as I mentioned, it's a LPCM 2-channel dual mono audio track. I mean, it does the job. You know, I can't really speak too much about that. It's a dual mono track, and kind of, you know, it's as basic as it can get, but there's no complaints there. In terms of video quality, picture quality, it's not a perfect transfer. I believe this was released a couple of months back in the States. I want to say maybe it was Mill Creek or somebody done a version of The New Kids. So it does feature some dirt and dust and speckles and stuff throughout the movie, but nothing to complain about. I mean, this is the first time this movie has gotten a release in the UK since VHS, so it never went to DVD, and it's gone to Blu-ray here, and it's a nice 1080p transfer. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's obviously going to be way better than the previous VHS release that I mentioned there. Just a couple of notes. You know, has some of those 80s-tastic training montages at the start of the music, and typical 80s score, kind of, you know, the usual in there. As I mentioned earlier, fits in with a lot of those kind of street gang movies that were around in the 80s and the mid 80s around this time as well. What I will kind of mention is, after watching this was the first time watch for me. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it previously from that other release that I mentioned. I kind of thought maybe it would have been a lot more gory, like there would have been more gore, that maybe the gore was cut out. Like there's certain scenes, you know, it builds up. There's the typical 80s stuff in there. There's a school dance, there's a fight at a dance, there's a big showdown at the end of the movie in the kind of rundown amusement park. I don't want to give away much more than that, but there's some scenes in there where it looks like it could have been there could have been some gore stuff in there that maybe they were kind of forced to cut out, but Rating on this one, I'm just looking here on the press release. It says 18 is to be confirmed for the UK, so it's not overly gory. I would kind of looking at it, I kind of feel like maybe there was some gore that was in there that they cut out. I could be wrong. Maybe they never put it in at all. But Sean S. Cunningham, maybe it should have been in there. But the Santa's Funland, as I mentioned, the amusement theme park is a fun kind of setting in the movie. I really like that. The cast was pretty decent, as I said. James Spader was a standout, and Laurie Loughlin, or Loughlin, however you pronounce her name. I liked her in there as well, and Tom Atkins and Eric Stoltz, as I mentioned earlier. Bonus content in this one is pretty decent. There is just over about 30 minutes worth of bonus content on this. There is a Sean S. Cunningham interview that runs 17 minutes long called The New Kid on the Lot, which is quite interesting. Him kind of giving the story of how the movie kind of came about. There is a 16-minute interview with Stephen Gyllenhaal, who is the father of Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal, who a lot of you guys will know as actors these days. So their father, Stephen Gyllenhaal, was a writer and a director at the time, so he wrote some of the script. That feature is called A Trip Down Santa Claus Lane. Pretty cool. There's an audio commentary track with two film critics, Sean Hogan and Barry Forsaw. And of course, this release, as I showed you in the picture, the booklet there with the booklet and stuff, and as I showed you guys the pictures of the artwork in the box there, this is the limited edition on the black label, so the first 3,000 copies only come with the booklet and the slipcase. So if you're into having the booklet and the slipcase and that kind of thing, you want to grab one of these as soon as you can. So this is actually getting released on the 29th of June, so coming up pretty soon here. So I will leave a link in the description of this video if you want to head on over to 101 Films website and order yourself a copy of this one. I saw a tweet from them recently that they actually supplies are in stock, ready to go. They might already be shipping by the time this video goes up online. So yeah, if you're into those 80s, mid 80s stuff, is it I mean, Sean S. Cunningham kind of talks in his interview in the bonus features about, like, is it a horror, is it a thriller? He sort of felt it was more on the thriller side of things, but they wanted to market it as a horror movie because of his background with Friday the 13th. So it's in there. I mean, I wouldn't consider it like an overly horror movie. It's more on the thriller side for me personally. It's just a gang harassing the two new kids in town. And it sort of comes to extreme measures to resolve that issue without giving too much spoilers or anything away. So yeah, that would do it for my review here. If you're into those 80s movies and you're into kind of all that sort of stuff, the horror stuff and the thriller stuff, maybe more on that side of things, yeah, definitely recommend picking this one up. As I mentioned, 101 Films do a fantastic job on their black label releases. I'm a big fan of their stuff and the black label. As I mentioned, I have a few here in the collection. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Of course, if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow me on social media, links have been up in this top corner throughout the video. I'm pretty active on there, pretty much on there every day. So if you want to give me a follow on there, that's pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you on the next video.